hunters have shot at one or tried to, and I was told by a gentleman, if you shoot one, you ain't gonna make it out of the woods alive
Wow.
because they're never alone. They're never by themselves. You may not see them, but they're not by themselves. And I believe that.
Welcome to the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast. This is it, another episode of the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast. Welcome to it. I am George. Scott Sunderwald along as always. Hey, Scott.
Yeah, it's good to be here. This is going to be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, we
Looking
are
forward to
bringing
it.
back a return guest. Actually, Cameron was on back, a little over a year ago now, back in October, episode 34. And I had got a hold of Cameron. The wife and I were like on our anniversary down in Caroline, and there was a poster on like some bulletin board, and it said Sasquatch wanted, something like that, and that had Cameron's info. So I'm like, I gotta get a hold of Cameron. So welcome back to the show, Cameron.
Thank you very much, guys, for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Cameron has the Traveling Canuck 29. You can find him on Instagram, also a YouTube channel with the Traveling Canuck. Cameron, in the last, I want to say at the end of the last episode we did, you were kind of like seeing where Sasquatch research was going to take you. You've been doing it since 97, since you were 7 years old. In the past year, what's been happening? What's going on in the world of Sasquatch?
So back in, I would say, early to late May, I had a gentleman reach out to myself and my research partner, Josh. And he is a hunter based out of Edson, Alberta, the Edson area. I'll just hold his name. We'll just call him Mr. D.
Okay.
And he brought to us a very interesting possible encounter.
Whoa.
Yeah. And this was really our first time, Josh and I's first time really meeting someone that was willing to take us to where this happened. And it was in an area that we have been looking into for the past couple of years. The place where the turnoff where he actually took us, we drove right by it 1,000 times, but finally got into that. So this gentleman, Mr. D, basically I was sitting on the couch, my phone went off. He saw one of our ads, probably the same one you saw, because my research partner and I have put them all up over that area.
Yeah.
And he saw, according to his encounter story, a female and young one while hunting in the area.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I talked to him on the phone and I interviewed him.
Yeah.
And I asked, would it be okay to meet, and would you be willing to take my research partner and I, Josh, to the spot? And he's like, absolutely. When do you want to go? So we made arrangements, we met up, and we were just blown away by Mr. D's encounter. We interviewed him on the spot in the site. The hike itself took about almost 2 hours to get to.
Yeah.
It was way back there in the bush. Just outside of Edson, Alberta. And he was basically hunting one day and on this property where he's allowed to hunt. And he happened to, the area that he was coming down a hill, a little bit of a dip in a hill, and he could just see the top of this black type figure ahead of him. And he got closer and closer. And all of a sudden, this thing stood up. And he's looking face to face at a female Sasquatch with a young one, which is very rare.
So it was two Sasquatches, like a female and wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo.
And so he looked at it through his gun sights.
Yeah.
And I asked him, why didn't she take a picture? He said, I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And so he's looking at this thing for, I think he said it was almost 2 minutes.
Oh.
He said now when you've heard, and this is, he's had And this is not the only incident with Sasquatch he's had, according to him,
Mm-hmm.
according to Mr. D. So we looked at, and he said that he described this thing like, I got him to go over the story 3 times.
Yeah.
Consistent every time, very detailed description. We couldn't get him, we couldn't knock him off his game. He was consistent. What he saw was a female Sasquatch, which was, he said it was like, it was groomed, long, slick hair back, no, very clean, very just, because he's like, you said, he told me, you've heard reports about the, looking dirty and tromping through this thing looked like it bathed just recently. But he said the thing that really struck him was when the young one was to its right, and it smacked it on the head and took off, and the little one just stood there.
Wow.
Or sat there. That's what really threw him off and freaked him out. It never followed the mother. He thinks that she was going back for the others, and so he hightailed it out of there after that.
Wow. Did he say how far away he was in this encounter?
He was pretty close. Like, he should. If you go on my YouTube channel, I have the full interview with Mr. D.
What's pretty close? Like 100 yards or
less? I think it was less. Like, it was pretty darn close. And he said he took video, but he said the video was so blurry he deleted it. And I'm going, oh, still, you got to keep those things.
Yeah.
He said he was terrified.
Wow.
And describe the landscape for us, Cameron.
Sure.
And I'll just put it out there before we get in too deep. I love the idea of Sasquatch. I studied fish and wildlife many years ago. I've worked in Sasquatch country most of my life. If you listen to the show, I'm an avid hunter and outdoorsman, explorer. And I wish they existed, but I'm not convinced they do. But I'm thrilled to have a chance to talk to someone like you who's dedicated so many years of your life to this subject. And I've actually studied Sasquatch quite a bit myself. I did a program on it many years ago on the pros and cons of Sasquatch evidence. So I'm not a complete newbie to the subject, so this really intrigues me. But back to your story, was this thick spruce country? Was it like muskeg, black spruce, where it's really tight, or was it open country, a cut block? Like what was it?
Oh God, it was. So the first part of the journey was swamp and muskeg.
Yeah.
Then you get into your usual type forests. Then we got into more bog and muskeg. And then we got into these kind of aspens. I don't know if they were aspen. It was a certain type of tree that he described, because we went to the area where he saw it, and it was completely different environment. It felt like we traveled through 3 different areas in a span of 2 hours. It was heavily forested, swampy, boggy, then regular walkable forest. The forest floor was very mossy like. We think we found tracks that day, and I do have some photos of them, but it's kind of hard to tell. I just took them for pictures of them just in case they were. Very spongy type forest floor, when you go through swamp, that kind of thing. But when we got to the site where we actually had this happen, it was more, he said it was a certain kind of tree, not juniper, but it was forested. It was not thick, heavy bush as we went through, but it was still out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. It was dead quiet. There was no roads. We were far from the road, far from the main highway. On the other side of, because we continued on after where he had this happen, there was a river there at the bottom. I don't know if it was the North Saskatchewan River or the Pembina River or something like that, but it was hilly. So there were so many different environments we went. It was very interesting because I've never been a part of something like that before. You started out in you know, bog and swamp to heavily forested area to something that's still forested, but it wasn't, you could see your hand in front of your face per se. So he could see what he was seeing if that's what he saw quite easily in that
Yeah.
spot.
But how is Mr. D want to become like what did he want to be?
I'm just protecting his name personally.
I'm
I don't.
curious like what his thoughts are now though. Did he like he saw Sasquatch and like he
Oh
wants
yeah,
to tell his story, or is he kind of like kind of hiding under the covers? Like
he
what's
was he was he was on another podcast. He was on
yeah,
another podcast. Yeah, I this was last minute and I
yeah,
didn't have a chance to talk to him, so I'm just calling him that
yeah,
just for yeah. He is a hunter. He's an outdoorsman. Heck,
yeah,
you guys might even know him. I don't know. So, but yeah, he was hunting
yeah. Confident it was
and
a Sasquatch, not a black
oh
bear.
yeah, no, no.
Hmm.
I got him to repeat his sighting 3 times that day, and he
Yeah,
took us to another area which was further down the road. So we had to hike to get to this first spot, then hike back to get to the trucks to get to the second spot down the road where he had wood knocks while cutting down firewood. He's had a few incidents. We were planning to meet up again this fall, but real life kind of happened, and my research partner and I, Josh, just couldn't make it down there. So, but we still keep in touch. And I said, hey, look, listen, if you're out hunting this season, something happens, let us know.
yeah,
Nothing as of yet. So, I mean, I'm not expecting lightning to strike twice in the same spot. So,
yeah.
and I believe this encounter happened in 2023 or 2022, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that it, sorry, go ahead.
Did it change your perspective a little bit? Like, were you kind of like fading with interest and now you're like re-injuvenated or what?
I wouldn't say I was fading. Honestly, it was not spooky, but it was very eerie
Yeah.
because until you really get, like, this was a call that we've been waiting for this is why we put out those flyers and why we put out those posters, was for that scenario. And you don't really think you're going to get a call until you actually get a call like that. Like, we've had calls before, but the problem is they were like, oh yeah, my uncle and I saw Sasquatch in 1975, or, well, shoot, what can I do with that, right? Like,
Yeah.
this guy was like, no, I saw one 2 years ago and I had my gun on it, and it was a mother and child. Okay, that's
Mhm.
significant.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a tough one. It's one of those ones where like if you know the story is if you have the body of the Sasquatch, which I mean, you hate to shoot one. Would you shoot one if you had one? Or what's the best move there? Like how do you prove that you saw Sasquatch, right? Without the body.
Well, I would hope you'd have some sort of camera. I mean,
Hmm.
nowadays with phones and body cameras and flare
Yeah.
cameras, I mean, really, there's no excuse really nowadays.
That
Uh,
so that does
Cameron,
bring up a good point then.
Cameron, wasn't there when I was studying Sasquatch years ago, I thought an American actually put out a reward for a body of a Sasquatch, sort of a dead or alive type of thing. And it was in the neighborhood of 1 million US. Like, it was somebody seriously wanted that. And I thought, well, that's a little dangerous because, you know,
oh, of course.
somebody could be running around looking like a Sasquatch with the costume or,
Yeah.
mistaken identity. But I could see whoever, like, if Sasquatch existed, again, I'll put it out there, I don't think they do, but if they did, like, it would change science as we know it. It would be the biggest news story in the world, right? It would be massive.
So one of the old veteran Sasquatch researchers was a Swiss Canadian by the name of Rene de Hinden, and he asked one of the biggest uh, science guys in the world at the time. Keep in mind, this was like 60s, 70s. He said, if we found Sasquatch, what would it mean? And De Hinden said, I don't even want to think about it, because it would be just, it would just mess up so many things. Everything from forestry to tourism to religion.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah, I
just,
mean,
I can't even comprehend that.
well, and that's the thing, right? Because for some people, Sasquatch is just a giant ape. a primate. For others, Sasquatch is a humanoid, another type of hairy man. For some, Sasquatch is more of a spiritual being. And it so it runs the gamut of people that you talk to. Everyone has a different view of what this beast is and should be. So, should
Right.
one ever be found, like you were saying, it would just turn the world on its head, right?
And I don't even know if we're even like we're just coming out now with news of UFOs coming to be real, right? So, it's just I don't know if our society could handle it.
The-
Or it's gonna be, oh yeah, okay, that's not surprising.
yeah.
There's gonna be a group of people be like, yeah, yeah, that's not surprising. Another go, oh my God, can't go camping now.
That is the problem. I didn't think about this until now, but like with AI and the videos that people make now,
Oh,
man, it's gonna make like
it already
proving it
has.
so hard.
It already has. Josh and I and my other research partner, we're all once the AI was coming, we're like, oh no, this is gonna just F up so much crap. Like it already has.
Yeah.
Like that's why I don't like if I was to have an incident where I was able to take footage on my phone or footage with a really good video camera or anything, I wouldn't be posting it to social media. The first thing I would be taking it to, once I saw it personally and knew it was good enough and I liked what was in it, I'd be taking it to Global News or CTV or something. I wouldn't be posting it I wouldn't even post it on my YouTube channel right away, because right away, to me, that's a strike. Because, oh, gee, never went to a news source first, just went right to social media.
Hmm.
Instant red flag.
Yeah.
Instant. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't even put it on social media yet. I would take it right to a news station. Be like, hey, take a look at this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I think the public won't believe that Sasquatch exists until they see physical evidence. Not a
Mm-hmm.
photograph because of AI, not even the footprints because those can be faked as well. But a body, a skeleton, the DNA needs to be analyzed. And that's, for me, that's the strongest argument against is we've never found a carcass roadkill. Like I've been in the bush and I've seen everything, even stuff that's hard to see, like cougars and fishers, wolverines that are sneaky. Um, and well, I mean, maybe we can dive into a bit of this. The another big one is the ecological improbability. So what that means, and Cameron, you'll understand this,
Yep.
is that there needs to be a stable breeding population, right? That's always been the argument against Loch Ness Monster. You can't just have one Nessie swimming
No.
around for 2,000 years. There has to be males and females and babies, and there has to be enough genetic diversity to keep the population alive. So if they do exist in North America, at a bare minimum, you're probably looking at needing about 1,000 to 2,000 individuals just to keep that baseline existence going. So it can't be like, oh, there is a Sasquatch. That just doesn't work, right? A Sasquatch needs to live and breathe and die and eat like all other physical beings. So what are your thoughts about that whole breeding population?
Yeah, no, that's where now myself and another researcher who's been doing this even longer than I have, we're kind of getting to the point now where it's like, you're right. So there was a scientist, or well, scientist and professor out of Washington State University named Dr. Grover Krantz, and he was a numbers guy, and this was in the late 1980s to mid to late 1990s. His estimation is that for a sort of breeding population of Sasquatch in Pacific Northwest, and in Canada, Western Canada, like your BC, Alberta, the number had to be somewhere in the 10,000s of them. And that was in the mid to late 1980s,
Wow.
was his guess. But of
And
course, that's a guess.
and so there again, if you think about that, you've got this, potentially 10-foot tall primate, and and a breeding population, it would be extremely difficult to
Yeah,
miss, right? And again, uh, I actually looked this up today because so many of these hunters, and I'm a hunter, George hunts as well. Do you know how many trail cameras are sold every year in North America? Like these are the cameras people put out to find deer and elk and moose.
thousands, if not millions.
4.5 million a year.
Mhm.
So if that many are heading into the bush, and we're finding everything again, mountain lions, fishers, um, you name it, grizzly bears, but we're not stumbling across the Sasquatch. And then when people say, well, they're just too smart, I'm like, that sounds like a cop out to me. Like people are like, well, they can sense the infrared, and it's just a convenient excuse to me if you've got every deer trail, every muskeg covered with these things and travel corridors, right? The other one
Correct.
is the drones now, heat sensing drones, and how many guys are flying drones over forest, and they can pick up everything from a human convict escaping to deer to moose, you know. The one that I've always put out there is probably one of the strongest reasons I don't believe in Sasquatch is the use of dogs, hounds. And the reason I bring that up is when we have a problem cougar in our parks, or let's say it's killing cats and dogs in the town, or heaven forbid attacking people, um, we bring in the cougar hounds, and those hounds will find that cat. Like they are on it, and you know how sleek and fast a cougar is, but they'll find it. And so hounds have been used for years to find bears, mountain lions, moose, escaped humans. And I know another name for Sasquatch is skunk ape, right? Because they're apparently quite stinky. So you've
That
got
would be the Florida
the
name for
Florida
it.
one,
Yes.
but yeah,
Yeah.
in any case, you've got something that's giving an odor. It's 10 feet tall, potentially 800 pounds. If you loosed a bunch of hounds on that thing, you would definitely corner it. And the fact that we haven't in all the years of hound hunting in North America, I just I can't imagine. But again, I throw these things out. Any thoughts, comments on that there, Tom?
Yeah. So you played right into my hand there. So that's perfect. So the dog one, to my knowledge, I know that's been tried once, and that was back in the mid to late '60s, and that was another well-known Canadian researcher, John Green, and I believe Renee DeHinden was down there as well. They had a expedition down there. It was called the Pacific Northwest Expedition. It was one of the first of its kind for Sasquatch. And they tried to. Tom Slick was a well known, very well off Texas oilman businessman. And oh, yeah, Peter Byrne probably was down there too. And another one of the original four Sasquatch researchers. Anyways, they brought these tracking dogs in to try and run one down. And I think that flopped. I heard it just did not go well. I have heard of incidences where tracking dogs were on the scent of one, but whatever, for some unknown reason, they just would not follow the scent. They pinned down, they just dropped to their legs, knees, and sat there and wouldn't go any farther. Going back to the camera thing, so recently I interviewed well-known Canadian Sasquatch researcher Thomas Steenberg, who I think you guys should get on your show at some point. I would highly recommend it. He started out as the first ever researcher, truly, based out of Alberta, before moving to BC in the early 2000s. So his big thing is the camera things as well. Now, when he first started researching, Banff National Park had trail cams. However, those trail cameras do not run 24/7, 365 days a year. Banff National Park and area, as you guys probably know, have those animal under and overpasses.
Mhm.
In those under and overpasses, there are cameras. When the Banff National Park Service wants to put them there. Again, not 24/7, 365 days a year. On the other side of the border to the south, in, I believe, the state of Washington, they are putting trail cameras in animal under and overpasses 24/7, 365 days a year. Heath Thomas Steenberg believes the next 5 years, and I agree with him on this, is the absolute most critical 5 years in Sasquatch research.
Hmm.
Because he said if we don't get a photograph or video of one in those 5 years, 2025 to 2030, then he thinks that either A, Sasquatch does not exist and didn't exist, or number two, they've all died out.
Mm-hmm.
So I have talked to Banff National Park Service rangers or park people and talked to them about the camera thing. And because they've gotten photos of, bear, elk, moose, bighorn sheep, and some very, according to Thomas Steenberg, some very interesting looking people, but never a Sasquatch. And I've talked to the people of Banff, and they just don't, honestly, they don't have a lot of cameras, hence why they move them and don't put them in there 24/7, 365 days a year, which I think they should. Obviously, our government seems to want to spend money elsewhere. So, but that's the big thing. So and you're right, Scott. Like, why hasn't there have been a few that have apparently caught something. There's the Jacobs photo from Pennsylvania. There was one that was based out of, I don't know if it was the state of Washington or Northern California, what looked interesting, but it's hard to tell. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, you would think by now one would be caught. The drone thing, now I will give an asterisk next to that one because you can't fly drones in national parks. Now, I'm sure there's people that have done and tried it, but to my knowledge, you can't, especially in Jasper or Banff. So yeah, Scott's 100% right. You get to the point where you're like, well, we have all this technology, we have this and that. Where are they?
Mm-hmm.
So Scott's not wrong.
Scott, you mentioned that you did a Sasquatch course that you taught, and you had like the pros and cons of there being Sasquatch. Can you give
Yeah,
us
we
a,
did a program. A course would be, it wasn't a course, it was a public program. And we
okay.
tried to handle it very respectfully because, again, there is indigenous knowledge and we want to be very tasteful and respectful. But even, and I'm not indigenous, so it's not my right to speak to Sasquatch from an indigenous perspective. But from the indigenous people that I did speak to, Sasquatch is a bit of a forest guardian creature. And Cameron, you may know more about this than I do. So these legends of Sasquatch go back thousands of years. So that sort of brings up this whole idea, did they exist and is it part of oral history? Because, for example, we had camels in North America. That's proven in the fossil record. We had woolly mammoths, we had saber-toothed cats, giant sloths, and all sorts of fantastic beasts. So, was there a giant ape? Now, Cameron's going to know this as well. There was
Gigantopithecus.
yeah, Gigantopithecus, black eye, found in Southeast Asia, said to have been extinct 300,000 years ago. So that was found in the fossil record. It would fit a Sasquatch pretty much perfectly, except some scientists believe it crawled on all fours and wasn't bipedal, but I don't know how you would know that. But it was estimated to be about 10 feet tall, basically an oversized orangutan. And you imagine seeing that in the bush, you'd be like, well, there's your Sasquatch, but there's no evidence that it ever came across the Bering Strait along with the other critters, and there's been no fossil record of it showing up in North America. Now, if it were ever to show up, wow, that would be pretty cool, right? Um, and could it be that something like that was here, and then through oral traditions, through indigenous um, inhabitants that were here for 10,000 plus years, that these stories carried on? Perhaps. Again, these are all speculations, but we don't have a clear fossil record in North America of a giant primate. The other thing I'll throw out here is the food resource, right? So we know that bears are big, and we've got bears here, grizzlies that can get close to that 800, 900 pound mark in the Rockies. But they can't survive the winter with the lack of food, so they hibernate. They are omnivores, but they eat like crazy. So if you've got an 800-pound primate, from my understanding, most Sasquatch believers think they do not hibernate. That means that poor sucker is running around all winter time eating what? Like there's no berries, there's no mushrooms, so you got to be killing big game. And then if you're killing big game, you'd be seeing that. Like I'd be, because I'm out there, man. I'm I'm out there with the Sasquatch, and I'd be seeing and I do find stuff ripped apart by mountain lions and eagles and bears and stuff, and I've never found anything ripped apart by a Sasquatch. But you'd need a lot of calories to keep you through the winter, right? You'd be killing stuff. Anyway, I said a lot there, Cameron. Please.
No, that's so. This is just my own personal opinion. I don't think this opinion is shared by many other Sasquatch researchers. I think they migrate, especially the ones in Alberta and Canada. I think the ones that are on the BC coast that don't deal with a lot of, per se, good old Alberta winter, those ones stay put. The ones on near Vancouver Island, that kind of thing, they stay put. The ones in Alberta, I think, move south I think, and I have heard that from another gentleman who's a well-known taxidermist, who says he's heard that there's a group of them in the Nordegg area. Then he was told by a hunter or trapper that there is somewhere in the Nordegg area. They all meet up, see who's alive, see whatnot, and then they move on to another area south. I think it's possible that Sasquatch migrates. Not far, but I also think they could be constantly nomadic. But you're right. Like, heck, who wants to stay in Alberta at -40, right? So if I could go somewhere warmer, I would. That's just my opinion. And that's an opinion that I've just kind of recently warmed up to in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't get a lot of action or reports coming in for the winter. However, also, how many people are really active in the winter anyways, other than hunters, snowmobilers, skiers?
And me. Yeah.
Scott, yeah.
I'd love to find their tracks in the snow, because that would be an easy tracking job, right? Yeah. And I will say, people point to when we didn't believe the giant squid existed, and that was a mythical beast that people said there's no way. And sailors said, no, we've seen stuff to prove they're out there. And then lo and behold, it was proven to be true. I just think the ocean is so big and vast, and has so many more hiding places, and we don't have cameras on every square inch like we do on terrestrial land here. But that is an interesting one. Now, before we started the recording here, Cameron, you mentioned that you spoke to the guy who was involved with the best known Sasquatch video of all time, the Patterson Gimlin video. Do you want to bring that up here again? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So back in August of 2009, I had the great pleasure of speaking with Bob Gimlin, who was accompanying Roger Patterson on October 20th of 1967 when they shot that famous piece of footage down in Bluff Creek, California. So unfortunately, I had one of those old TELUS flip phones. I did not have an iPhone, and I couldn't record it. But what I did do is I jotted it down, what he said, in my research binder on a bunch of loose leaf paper, and every word he spoke to me was exactly like I read in the books and seen on. He was true to his word, detail after detail. It was just unbelievable. And to talk to him, I didn't get to talk to him for very long, but he doesn't do a lot of interviews anymore. However, and I tried to speak with him again, but now he kind of has an agent per se, and you got to pay up to talk to him. His agent wanted like $200 US.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah. And so I'll give a little bit of the backstory as to why the money has come in. So back when the Patterson footage came to light, um, Bob, and this is something I had to learn myself, and talking to Thomas Steenberg and another well-known Sasquatch researcher based out of Northern California or Southern California named Daniel Perez, who runs the Bigfoot Times newsletter. Bob Gimlin was really kind of cut out of the action and money from the film tours, the publicity, and all that stuff, to the point where he sold his shares of the film to Renee DeHinden for $1. He just got so fed up with it, said the heck with it. So now, and now I kind of understand why this agent of his wants money for interviews to kind of get back the money he should have gotten in the late 60s, early 70s, when this thing was everywhere, and almost every nature documentary, every nature movie, TV, and everything. So I kind of get it. But those few minutes that I had with Bob talking to him was just unreal. And he's such a, I've never met the man. I would love to, but I know time's against me here. He is a genuine person. He is so kind and down to earth. It's a shame we lost Roger Patterson at such a young age in 1972 due to cancer, because boy, would have loved to have talked to him. But yeah, no, it was such a great experience, and I, to this day, I believe that film is real. There's been people that said, "Oh, I was in the suit," or "I was in the suit." No one has brought a suit to the light to prove it or disprove it. No one. There's been that one guy.
And Cameron, that was in California in
Correct.
what year?
1967, October 20th,
Yeah, I
1960.
thought it was in the 60s. Yeah, so that's still sort of the crown jewel of the Sasquatch videos, and they believe it to be a female, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not even, it is a female. You can easily make out the breasts
Yeah.
moving in the video. You can see muscle movement. You can see the muscle in the thighs. It's just a massive, wonderfully built creature.
Mm-hmm.
Now Bob did have his gun on it when that film. So you know that part of the film where she turns and looks at the camera. Bob said the reason he thinks that it looked at that point was because he had his gun pointed towards it.
Right.
So when it made that, he said when she made that gesture to turn is when he put the gun on it, because Roger yelled to cover me, because they didn't know if this thing was going to run at them or what, right? So when it made that turn, that's when it wasn't looking at Roger, it was looking at Bob, because Bob had the gun on it.
Cameron, you're like our correspondent into the Sasquatch community. What is the community like nowadays? Does it seem like there's more people getting into it? It does seem commercialized.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Sasquatch has become just more popular, but you see more, Sasquatch, Bigfoot logos and
Right.
stuff around. But what's your perspective from being deep into the community?
Yes, just to quickly wrap up, this is bullet that Bob Gimlin used on October 20th, 1967.
You got the bullet. Wow.
It's a exact replicable. It's a 30-06.
Mm.
This is the size of bullet that Patterson Bob. But anyways, I thought I'd show you that. It's from my researcher's buddy's dad. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of like what Thomas Steenberg said. There's just a lot more people doing it now than there was back in the day. And some of them, aren't exactly, I'm trying to think of a way to put as serious as others, or there's some trying to push their own little agendas. And yeah, it's definitely more commercialized. Finding Bigfoot, as good of a show it was, I think it's really done more damage than help.
Mm.
And that's not a slight to the people on the show. Cliff Brackman from Oregon, I've interviewed him. Very nice man, and even he admits, oh, finding Bigfoot was crap. So
Yeah.
yeah, so um, it's it's trendy, especially in the United States. It's now trendy to see Bigfoot or do stuff. It's and what I know, a lot of the First Nations people do not like the commercialism, and I can understand that.
Hmm.
Um, I would love to see if anybody on the Bighorn First Nations Reserve would talk to me about Sasquatch, if they've heard anything or grown up with any kind of stories told to them by their ancestors, that kind of thing. But I haven't really found the right connections to get in there to talk to anybody. But yeah, it's Sasquatch research nowadays. I feel like it's at a point where we've lost a lot of the full on true original Sasquatch researchers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we lost Dr. Jeff Meldrum from Idaho State University, he was our biggest supporter from the scientific world. We unfortunately lost him back in September, which was a real gut punch to the research community. Thomas Steenberg, really, to me, is the last one that he's out there, he's in the bush, he's looking, he's doing his darndest. But like he said, to me, if you go on my YouTube channel, there's my interview with him from about 2 weeks. Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks ago Sunday, where he says the next 5 years is critical, and
Yeah.
if we don't find something significant, he is definitely going to think that there's no more Sasquatch, or there never was.
Yeah. So Cameron, we talked about some of the shows and video. What did you think of Les Stroud, Survivor Man? He did quite a long series on Sasquatch. I watched quite a bit of that.
Mhm.
What were your thoughts?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I
They
like
set
Les
up
Stroud.
cameras and they did a lot of
Yeah.
hiking and set up cameras. It looked like they were trying, right?
Unfortunately, Les Stroud got mixed in with the wrong person for Sasquatch research.
Okay.
Um, he did an episode with Todd Standing, who in the Bigfoot research world is very controversial. Um, I never met the man, never spoke to him. I mean, there's always two sides to every story, but we'll just say that he's very. But I mean, hey, good on Les to get him on. Controversy sells, right? So
Yeah.
um, I think Les Stroud did a great job, other than the one series or episode with him and Todd Standing. I mean, if any guy's going to find one or see one, it would be him, because I don't think he ever lives in society. He's always in the bush.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did a
and
great job.
yeah, he
Yeah, he did a
started
great
that
job. I love
show.
the series.
He started that show because he had an experience. I
Correct.
want to say it was Alaska. It might have been Yukon, but it was in the north.
Oh, it was Alaska. You're right.
Yeah,
It was
and
Alaska.
then and I actually it surprised him, right? He's got the camera rolling and he hears something. Now I've certainly heard odd things in the forest. We talked about, I think during the mountain lion segment, where I heard the screaming mountain lion at night and it made my skin crawl. I could see how people would think there are bizarre things out of there. The tree knocking, the rock throwing. That's interesting too. There's no other creature besides primates that can throw rocks. So I know that that's been one that people have brought up. People in tents and cabins or around lakes have seen these Sasquatch beasts throwing rocks at them or into water, and that's a bizarre one. So that if you don't believe in Sasquatch, you have to believe that that was not a bear. That would have to be a human, right? That looked a lot like a Sasquatch. So that's an odd one for me. But yeah, I thought the Les Stroud one, he tried. He went all over the
Yeah.
country and tried.
Yep.
Um, and I was going to ask you, I know some of the Sasquatch hotspots in Alberta, and we certainly live in one here in the Hinton area,
Hmm.
North Rockies. I know Grand Cache,
Hmm.
Switzer Park has come up.
Well,
And
Mr.
the
D saw
Nord,
one
and
just north of Edson there somewhere.
yeah, north of Edson, the Nordegg
Mhm.
area. So
Yeah,
what are we missing, Cameron? Or is that kind of, are we in the hot spot here, or are
I
there
th-
more
I th-
places that come up?
I think for Alberta, the hot spot is basically I was told anywhere just north, and this came right from a documentary I saw where somebody was talking to somebody from Alberta Fish and Wildlife. Basically, he told this person, and this was on YouTube. I forget what documentary. Um, if you're between Nordegg and Hinton, that's the sweet spot,
Hmm.
apparently.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. And my research partner and I, Josh, we've driven all over the Forestry Trunk Road, north and south. And there are some pretty remote areas in there. There's a couple areas we want to check. Even the Cadam and Robb area has some historical sightings as well, dating back to the mid late 1990s.
Mhm.
Um, you're actually the last guest you had on there from Cat. I got in touch with him right after I heard the your episode, and we got some plans to hopefully meet one day. And I said, hey, if you're ever in the Cadman area and you hear something, let me know. I sent him the poster. I said, hey, here's me on Wilderness Wave last year, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I believe his name was it
Paul
Paul?
Paul
Paul
Chambers,
Chambers, yeah.
our
Uh,
bighorn sheep guy. Yeah.
yeah, so I talked right after the that episode I listened to. I contacted him right away. I'm like, here's a guy that might know something.
Yeah. Well, if you stand on the Cardinal Divide and you look south down that forestry trunk road towards Nordegg, it's some of the wildest forested country you will ever see in your life, right? I
Right.
can see why, if Sasquatch would exist, that would be the turf, right? It's just thick, thick, endless forests and hills and mountains, which is rather fascinating. I got one more thing here before. Sorry, George, I'm rambling, but I don't get to talk to Cameron every day. Um, one of the
Lucky
things that
you.
yeah, no, I'm really enjoying this. One of the things I noticed when I was studying Sasquatch is that when you overlap Sasquatch sightings in North America with bear habitat, they correspond one to one. So there's two ways you can look at that. You can say that proves that Sasquatch sightings are actually bears standing on hind legs, yada yada. Or it proves that they both need similar habitats. It's got to be one or the other. But it's interesting that there's an almost one-to-one correlation of overlap between black bear habitat and Sasquatch habitat. Thoughts, comments?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would think if there's enough food in the area to feed bears, you would think that it would be enough to feed some Sasquatches in the area. The other thing, too, I don't know if it was John Green or somebody else dug into this, and it was kind of neat. A lot of the high numbered areas where Sasquatch was sighted also had very heavy amounts of rainfall. So that was another thing. That was more so the
Oh, it's
BC
definitely
coast
British
area.
Columbia, Washington State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I don't know if it was John Green or somebody else. And I found that to be pretty interesting. But that makes sense because more rain would grow more plants, grow more berries, provide more water sources for deer, for elk. So I found that to be interesting as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The bear thing, I mean, let's be honest. Not every sighting is Sasquatch. There probably are some misidentification sightings involved where it was a bear standing up on its hind legs. However, if you go looking into John Bindernagel's book called North America's Great Ape, the Sasquatch, and also his second book, The Discovery of Sasquatch, there is actually, I'm just going to grab this here. Yeah,
Yeah. And
you tell.
while you're looking for that, Cameron, I'll segue. Like last week, I was hunting all week. I took the week off. I was between Hinton and Edson, good Sasquatch country. I bumped into two very large black bears. I had a
Mm.
bear tag, but by the time I got landed up, they were gone. But one of them did stand up and just looked gigantic. And again, it crossed my mind, had I seen that through a little bit of black spruce, 150 yards in the twilight, it would have looked very much like a Sasquatch. And they can occasionally walk on their hind legs, and their back paws definitely look similar to what you see in Sasquatch prints. I've seen them in the mud and snow. So again, my skepticism, I think a lot of what people are seeing is simply bear tracks and bears standing and bears walking. And then on top of that, you can get bears that get mange. I don't know if you've seen photos of bears with mange, but for any listeners, go Google it. It'll freak you out. Like, they look very human like, and I hunt bears and I've skinned them, and it gives me a eerie feeling. They're not like a deer, but they can look almost like a werewolf, or I hate to say it, almost humanoid type of look to them.
Hmm.
Like, I remember dragging my first bear out of the bush and feeling like I had just hunted a big hairy gorilla. It was an odd feeling for me.
So this is where I'm going to maybe disagree with you a little more than I have throughout the show.
Please
Ooh.
do. Please do.
Now, you tell me, how can you not tell the difference between a bear with ears and the Sasquatch with no prominent ears in this photo? I think you could tell the difference with you being such a well-educated hunter.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I would say, is it twilight? Is it obscured by trees? How far is it? All those things
Correct,
play
for
into it,
sure,
right? Yeah.
100%. Yeah, but looking at this photo, you could tell the difference
Oh,
pretty darn easily between a
absolutely. If,
Sasquatch
it, if it's
and a
close,
bear.
clear as day, I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. What John Bindernagel, again, I interviewed him as well, but again, this was back when I didn't have an iPhone. He was like the Canadian version of Dr. Grover Krantz, and what he always wanted was, if you look in the Peterson's Field Guide, this is what we need. This is what we need here. Is
Yeah.
side by side comparison of a Sasquatch and a bear. You could, the pointed head for the Sasquatch, the easily prominent ears, the long snout. I would think any well educated hunter or could easily tell the difference between a bear and a Sasquatch. But again, depends on time of day, night. So so that's why I thought I'd bring that up, because
Yeah.
I'll play ball with you, but for most of the show. But I'm going to fight you on this one
Hey, push
I,
back, please, Cameron. That's why we've got you here. Push back. I
because
I, I love it.
because to me, you could easily tell the difference between a bear and a Sasquatch very
Yeah.
easily.
Cameron, you've been Sasquatch hunting for almost 30 years. Do you feel like the one by Edson was kind of like the one that felt like the realest to you?
Yeah, I would say either he pulled my partner and I's leg very well, or he saw. I believe Mr. D saw something. We tried to knock him off. We looked for inconsistencies in his story. We looked for him embellishing or repeating. No, it was just detailed, one after another. Just perfect. Everything that Thomas Steenberg taught me, and Peter Byrne as well. Just lots of detail. Never wavered from his story. He didn't tell anybody for a while,
Yeah.
and you could visibly see him be emotional.
Yeah.
Like you could tell he was scared.
Yeah. If
And this was
people,
a
sorry, if
and
people are listening to this podcast and they have spotted something or seen something, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
here, let me grab my good thing. The best way to get a hold of me would be through email. My email address is cameron.crawford93@gmail.com. That would be the best way to connect with me Sasquatch wise.
We'll link that in the show notes too, because I mean, this podcast is going out to a lot of people in the Northern Rockies. This is your Sasquatch territory, so
Right,
yeah.
right.
And you're
Yeah.
down to
Um,
come out and explore whatever someone
yeah,
finds.
exactly. I mean, that's the name of the game. We're here to hopefully find one and end this mystery once and for all. I would have loved to have solved it quite quickly and then move on to Loch Ness, but I think that one might be over and done with. I will agree with Scott on that one. I think that one is a little bit harder to swallow in 2025 compared to Sasquatch.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We do have a
Yeah.
few would you rather questions too. You want to get into that, Scott?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, sorry, you're asking Scott, not me.
Well,
Sorry.
no, Cameron, you're in. You're in. I was just I I know Scott's got more Sasquatch questions too. So
I got a couple would you rathers, so yeah.
yeah.
And they're Sasquatch based, so let's do it.
Okay. Okay, I got a would you rather here. Actually, I think we alluded to this earlier on in the episode even. Okay, so would you rather see a real Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or a real UFO?
Sasquatch, easy.
Yeah. Scott, I'm curious your thoughts on that one too, Scott. I figured Cameron was definitely going to be Sasquatch, of course, but real
Um,
UFO or Sasquatch?
see, I think I'm gonna go the other way because if there's extraterrestrial life
Hmm.
and it's observing us, I think that's on the human scale, what that means for us as a species is huge. I mean, Sasquatch is big, but that is huge. If something's got the technology and the wherewithal to fly galaxies and to come visit us, I think life as we know it is over. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think I'm going UFO on that
I
one.
want Scott to see the Sasquatch so then he could call me up and say, "Yeah, sorry, you were right."
Yeah. Listen, both of them would rock my world.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. How about you, George?
Yeah, I know. I was debating this question today. As I wrote it down this morning, I'm like, okay, this is going to be like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or UFO. I just feel like I feel like there is UFOs out there. Like I feel like it's not a real stretch. Whereas Sasquatch, I'm like, I'm stretching it a little bit for that. So I want to see that Sasquatch. I want to be like, I saw a Sasquatch, but I want it to be like, okay, that's a Sasquatch, like definite sort of thing. So I'm gonna go Sasquatch and yeah, Cameron, don't worry, you'll be my first phone call once I find one.
Yeah,
I'll be
and
a
again,
little,
it can't be a UFO as in, oh, there's an odd-looking comet shooting by. Like we're talking
yeah.
extraterrestrial. This thing lands in the soccer field, and
Right.
I watch it.
Yeah.
That's different than some weird streak in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be a little more specific. I want to see a Sasquatch with my camera handy.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I had a very similar one here, but I'm going to give it anyway. Would you rather discover a Sasquatch carcass? So you stumble across this dead Sasquatch in the forest, right? It's like real proof, or discover Loch Ness Monster washed up on shore.
Mm.
And you are the guy, Cameron.
So I'm going to throw a curve. I'm going to put a C next to that one. I would rather do it Harry and the Henderson style, put him alive on my car roof.
Yeah.
I think a live one, it would be worth more than a dead one.
Yeah, yeah, but in this scenario, they're
In that
both
scenario, I'm taking the dead Sasquatch because it's like,
yeah.
What
you
is
know, I
there's Loch Ness Monster, but there's the Ogopogo.
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 Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's other similar creatures in other places in the world. I think the Amazon has their own version of, and it all makes sense, right? I mean, why wouldn't we believe there were dangerous and ghastly things in the water, especially from ancient times?
Hmm.
I think there's also Champy from Lake Champlain, and I think there's one in Manitoba as well. I don't know the name offhand, but I believe there's one in I don't know if it's in Lake Winnipeg or a different lake, but I've heard there's one in Manitoba apparently.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm gonna find the dead Sasquatch too. I think that's the key piece of evidence right there. Loch Ness, just picturing a dead Loch Ness, it just seems like it would be grimy, smelly. Yeah,
Stinky.
stinky. Yeah, you smell like fish for the rest of your life. I feel like. What are you going with, Scott?
Oh man, I wrestle with this one. Actually, I might have to go with Loch Ness because I think it's going to be more of a prehistoric type beast if
Mm.
it exists, right? So that would be like kind of that living dinosaur potentially, which would be super cool. But again, I don't believe Loch Ness exists either.
Okay, here's one that's like not Sasquatch related, but a little more camping related. I know Cameron. We kind of talked about this last time you were on the episode on the podcast. Was like searching for Sasquatch and going out there and meeting these people is also a great excuse for you just to go out and go camping and get out into the
Right.
bush. So this one's a
Yeah.
little more camping question, but
Okay.
would you rather have to deal? So you're setting up a tent right now. Would you rather have to deal with extreme downpour as you're setting up your tent, or extreme wind? Probably like close to the top of a mountain, I'm guessing, like it's just pouring like
Yeah.
crazy, or
Right
it's
on, right on top of I don't know if it's called the Coliseum Mountain there near Nordegg on top of that sucker.
Mhm.
Ah, with my luck, it's going to be piss and rain and windy, and then the Sasquatch comes out and I can't reach my camera. I don't like being wet, so I'll take the wind.
Okay. Yeah. How about you, Scott?
Yeah,
Extreme downpour or wind?
I've been in both of those scenarios and they both suck.
Yeah.
I'm with Cameron on this. I don't, once you get wet, it's really hard to dry
Yeah.
out. If you don't have a hot tent, and I've been on top of mountains in a downpour, you set up your tent, you're soaked, you're climbing into that tent soaked, it sucks.
Hmm.
The wind is bad because like you can literally lose your tent off the mountain. Like you get 80, 90 km/h winds, like
Yeah.
that thing's going like a parachute. But I've been there, done that, and you can make it work. You just have to be very careful how you set it up. So I'm going wind.
Wow.
For you, George?
I'm opposite of you guys. I thought you guys would go the other way. I'm gonna go rain. Like I just feel like I could be quick enough. Like with the wind, like trying to like get your tent pegs in and like it's flying. Like I do feel like my tent would be gone. Whereas with the rain, it's like okay, I can get underneath it maybe a little bit and then kind of pop it up real quick. I'm gonna go downpour.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll test it out this summer and see which one. We'll see which version is the best, I guess.
And at least, with the wind, if you're trying to set up a tent, if it takes off like a parachute, hey, I don't need to worry about a drone looking for Sasquatch. I'll just paraglide it.
There you go. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
might die, but hey, at least I'm doing what I love, right?
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, I got another one. Would you rather be able to shapeshift into a Sasquatch so you can, boom, you're walking in the forest at night and you are unstoppable, or be able to shapeshift into a grizzly bear?
Mm.
Cameron, you're first.
Hmm. I'll take the grizzly bear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. How come?
yeah, I'll take. Ah, because at least I'm shape shifting into something somebody believes.
Well, you could shapeshift into a Sasquatch and just walk by like 300 game cameras at night and just turn the world upside down.
That's true. Yeah.
But then again, everybody says pictures aren't going to do it. So then I'm going to
Right,
be the
right.
one that gets shot.
You
I'm
have
already
to,
in the game. I'm the researcher. I know how to hide now.
you have to pull out some hairs in front of the camera and take a dump right in front of it and leave some DNA.
I'll dump right on your cameras there, Scott. You can have it.
How about you, George?
I'm going Sasquatch. I do feel like that would be great. Like you can shapeshift into Sasquatch. I mean, I'm leaving footprints. I'm gonna rub some hair off on some trees there. I'm going to I'm gonna get a little bit visible out there, shake the world up a little bit. I'm going Sasquatch for the night. What do you
Yeah.
think it's got?
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I'm tree knocking. I'm doing some Sasquatch howls.
Yeah.
On that note, Cameron, um, sounds that Sasquatch makes. So we
Right.
know about the tree knocking and some of their calls. Can you enlighten us a bit on what researchers are looking for?
Right. So as far as sounds, there's obviously high-pitched screams, very powerful whistling noises, and again, all those could be done potentially by other species. Um, there was a really good Sasquatch call recorded, but unfortunately, and it creeped me out too. If I ever find it, I'll send it to you guys. But it was actually hoaxed. Apparently, I have to do more digging, but I found this a few times. Apparently, it was actually hoaxed by Roger Patterson.
Oh, really?
And yeah. So, but what he was doing was making it for his own documentary. And this kind of leads into, oh, see, he was faking this and faking that. Now his film must be fake. No, it wasn't for that. Apparently, it was faked by Patterson. And it's this screeching. It was actually used in a movie, Sasquatch Legend of Bigfoot. It was from the 70s, and it's this long drawn out scream, and apparently he faked it in an old church building with a siren of some kind.
Huh.
But
And
it sounds pretty spooky, so but yeah, there's also teeth pop, where I can't do it as well or loud, but
jaw
they
popping?
yeah, or teeth
Yeah, because
chattering, that
bears
kind
will
of
do
thing.
that. They'll pop their jaws. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yep.
Um,
That's been on record. Yeah, just
what about
those are
roars?
most.
I thought there's Sasquatch roars that I've heard. People
There's the howls. They're more categorized as howls.
howls. Okay.
Yeah, the most famous one is the Ohio howl. I believe that was recorded in 1994. Um,
And and what about the tree knocking? Like, is that a thing?
I have a hard time now with that one because, and it also goes along, coincides with the tree sculpture structures.
Yeah.
Thomas Steenberg and I have a really hard time with that one. I used to not, but then after talking with Thomas and kind of learning more about it, no one has seen them do it. No one has said, "Hey, I have a report of a Sasquatch building a tree structure in front of me." Everybody just finds them and goes, "Oh, Bigfoot did it." How do we know if
Mhm.
no one's seen it? I mean, it's possible. It is possible, but it's also possible that I could have done it.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So
that
I'm a
isn't
little torn. I'm a little torn on the tree structures now than I was back when I started.
interesting. Yeah, because I know again, going back to bears, bear rub trees. Bears will snap trees. Like start watching when you go through the forest, you'll see trees, especially grizz, will often snap them at about 6 foot height, 7 foot height, and they'll rub against them. We've proven that with cameras, right? And usually they're like a spruce about the thickness of your wrist, and it's just a marker they use and scent mark, almost like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. So we know that bears do that type of stuff. The tree structures is an interesting one because I have seen poles leaned up in the middle of nowhere. And I've been like, huh, how the heck did that get here? It didn't fall over on this spot. It looks almost like somebody propped it up. So I've scratched my head with some of that. And so some people would say that's Sasquatch and they're using it as a some sort of waypoint sign or communication sign. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I mean, it could possibly be them. I'm not saying it's all not them, but I'm just going on the basis of, to my knowledge, and I believe in Thomas Steenberg's research files, I don't believe he has an actual report of a hiker or a hunter or an eyewitness saying, "Hey, I saw a hairy, upright creature building this in front of me, and I watched it for 10 minutes or more."
Hmm.
But then
Yeah.
again, we also believe, majority of researchers, I would think, that Sasquatch is nocturnal and at night. Not too many people are active at night, are we? So there's that part of the story as well. You
Right.
could build them at night when we're not watching. or there's very little people active.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's
Well, I
the
tell you, if I ever see a Sasquatch, I'm going to be the world's biggest champion for this thing, Cameron. I will be an unstoppable force. I will go on all the podcasts. I'll write books. Like I said, I wish they existed. It would be the coolest thing. The idea just thrills me. But I am a skeptic at heart, so I haven't seen the evidence to sway me. But this has been fascinating.
What is
George, you're
that?
gonna say.
What is that part though, Scott? Like you see the Sasquatch, you're on your own out in the middle of nowhere. You
No, I
know.
don't want him to be on his own. I want him to be with somebody so he won't think he's crazy when he sees one.
Well, that's what I mean. So you're out there and you definitely saw a Sasquatch. You know it's not a bear. You recognize it. Do you go and tell everybody, or do you just kind of be like, man, I saw one, I believe it, but no one's gonna believe me. I have no proof of it. Like, what do you do in that scenario? Do you tell everybody?
Well, that's the thing, right? So let's say Sasquatch does exist
Yeah.
and you do see one.
Yeah.
That would be a quandary because your sanity, people are going to think you're crazy.
Yeah.
How are you going to convince anybody? Did you get your camera out? And your phone is so terrible for long range shots. Like I've taken photos of grizzly bears and you come back home and look at it and it's a little dot in the distance. So it'd be very hard to really prove. I think I would try to go and see if there was hair left behind, tracks.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
that's
I don't
just
know,
it.
Cameron.
Like
What
there,
should we do if we see one?
well, I was just going to add to what Scott was saying. Like there's a report that I saw a long time ago. There was this bush pilot who I believe worked for search and rescue, and I believe this was in California or Washington State. He was flying his plane over. Yeah, it was in California, Northern California. Beautiful sunny day. He looked down and clear as day. He says he saw a Sasquatch walking, and he goes, "Ah, damn, Bigfoot. I don't need to be a Bigfoot witness. I don't want to be a Bigfoot witness." But then but that happens to people, right?
Right.
Like it's like what, like if I was saw one, I don't even know what I would do because even though people know me as a Sasquatch researcher, of course there's going to be a party that says, "Oh, of course you say you saw one. You've been looking for them forever. You have Sasquatch on the brain every time you go into the forest."
Right.
So that's a thing you struggle with too as a researcher. I just hope if I'm in that scenario, I have enough time to get my camera out, get a good photo. If I can get good footage of it, that's all I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Because I don't carry a gun on me. I'm not a hunter, so I can't shoot the darn thing. And honestly, I wouldn't. I couldn't shoot one. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to be the guy who proved it once and for all, I can't. I wouldn't shoot one. I've heard too many things where hunters have shot at one or tried to, and I was told by Joan, if you shoot one, you ain't gonna make it out of the woods alive.
Wow.
Because they're never alone. They're never by themselves. You may not see them, but they're not by themselves. And I believe that.
Something to think about. I do agree with you, and like you're saying, like Thomas was saying, the next 5 years going to be big.
Yeah, I do. I do believe that.
I know, like what Scott's saying is too. Like everyone's got a trail cam. There's more going up all the time. So if something's going to happen, it's going to be soon. Cameron, thanks so much for joining us today. I love talking to you. This podcast is about talking to people that are passionate about what they're doing, and you've been doing this for almost 30 years and still going strong, which is, I love it. I love the passion, and I love that you're able to talk to these people and go out and explore and be like, hey, someone sees a Sasquatch out there, they can call you, and you're not just going to hang up on it. You're like, hey, let's go check it out. Let's go see what you find. Let's see if we can find some evidence. And people are looking for something like that. So I think that's
right.
It's great.
You do. You do get your strange calls. I did get a call a while back about this guy wanting to meet up or whatever, but he didn't want to meet in the daytime. He wanted to go out at night at like 1:00 in the morning. And I'm going, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And but no, it's been a it's that's another great thing about Sasquatch research. It's almost not the hunt itself; it's the people you meet and the people you talk to. Is it's almost just as interesting as the creature itself.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. And before we wrap up, it's almost kind of goes in with your would you rather have Sasquatch proven and know it's out there or
Mm.
not, and you have a mystery to solve, and it makes the wilderness wild, and it makes Alberta wild and free.
Hmm.
Would you rather not know? It's seriously like there's some
Yeah,
people that I've talked to that says, you know what, I would rather not know.
Yeah.
interesting.
But
Yeah,
to yeah, like but to me, I'm getting to the point where I have other interests on the back burner. So yeah, I want to find one.
Yeah.
yeah.
I yeah.
Before we go, Cameron, because there's one more thing that popped in my mind here. And since we've got you on here, and I may not get this opportunity, are there people in the Sasquatch research world that see Sasquatch more as a paranormal, spiritual
Oh
being?
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
and and
Okay.
and so, some people claim to see angels or ghosts
Yep.
or whatever,
Yep.
and that might even fit closer with some of the indigenous spiritual
Correct.
beliefs. So, are we wrong to be looking for a physical giant primate that's eating things in the bush, or is this more, or is there a group of Sasquatch researchers who's looking for some sort of spiritual paranormal being?
Right. Well, there's definitely a camp of people that do believe it's something from out of this world, from outer space or aliens or that kind of thing, and that's fine. They can believe what they want to. That's the great thing about freedom. You can do that type of thing. Me, on one hand, though, I'm old school. It's a physical, upright walking, undiscovered primate
Yeah.
of some kind. Now, I could totally be wrong. One could be brought in, and they could do blood tests on it and find out it's from freaking Mars. And I can go, okay. Then I'd have to go, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
It was alien.
Yeah.
Um, well, it's true, right? I could be wrong in all of this.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
could. I could very well be wrong. It's a 50-50 chance.
You know,
So,
yeah, no, that's a good point. I tell you though, I love Sasquatch stuff. Like if I see a Sasquatch mug or a shirt or a hat, I want to buy it. I just think they're fascinating. The idea is fascinating. And so yeah, thank you so
yeah,
much, man,
it's
for
it's
enlightening
it's
us.
fun to be a part of. I've met some great people. I've been able to get out to areas where you'd never would think one would be. I agree with Thomas Steenberg, and again, I really think you should get him on your show. I'd send you his contact information. He does podcasts and shows all the time, so I really don't think you'd have an issue getting him on, because I think he is one of the last original and he was originally Alberta based, so he fits right in with the Alberta content of your show, and I do agree. 2025 to 2030 is going to be a big 5 years for the Sasquatch research world.
You can
Amazing.
follow along with Cameron's got YouTube videos and interviews, and so you can see Cameron's interviews with some of these Sasquatch researchers and people from the
So the
Sasquatch
research
community.
the old one, they're audio only, but the
Audio,
one
yeah,
with Mr. D is video.
at the Traveling Canuck on YouTube, and then you can also follow along with Cameron on Instagram at Traveling Canuck 29. Cameron, when you do find that Sasquatch or the next, the next piece of evidence, let us know. We want to be involved in this too. And
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, we'll be your email will be in the show notes. So if hey, maybe
Okay, great.
you're listening to this podcast and you think you've seen one, or you want to get in touch with Cameron, we'll have you'll be able to do that too. So. Scott at Northern Rockies Bushcraft, Radically Wild, the book out now. You can get northernrockiersbushcraft.com, and that's like everyone I'm talking to, it's like the perfect Christmas gift. So yeah,
Yeah,
check that book out.
check it out.
Yeah, and then yeah, well, I'm not sure what the next episode looks like, but we're kind of heading into the holiday season, so we might have a couple weeks off as we kind of do that, but we got some ice fishing planned and hot tenting, and who knows, maybe we'll find a Sasquatch out in the middle somewhere this winter. So yeah, excited for it. Okay, well, thanks so much again for coming on, Cameron. Great seeing you. Until next week, stay wild.
Wilderness Wavelength.